your girl Mrs. Tony 2 times, and I'm back with another video. In this episode of Hood Tales, let's take it to Middleton, Wisconsin to tell the story about a man chasing the American dream and a single moment of escalation that changed everything forever. But before we get into this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Turn your notifications on so you don't miss any future uploads. Stay tuned until the end to hear the full story. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. It's compelling to me how two strangers can cross paths and in a split second, everything can change just like that without warning, not knowing that life will never be the same. Kawsu Samba was born in the Gambia, West Africa, in a large and loving family. Kausu moved to the United States back in 2011 in search of his American dream. He wasn't just looking for a new home, he was looking for opportunity. Kausu was a powerhouse of ambition. He earned 2 degrees, one in accounting and one in business management. He was a standout soccer player for University of Wisconsin Parkside, where he graduated in 2016, and the Croatian Eagles. His friends described him as having an infectious smile and unwavering kindness. He was the kind of guy who didn't just succeed for himself. He sponsored his siblings so they could join him in the U.S., even paying for his sister Absa's housing. He was the glue of his family. As Kausu was working on bringing his dreams into fruition, Jakyra Anderson was also finding her way as a young lady. Her background was a bit different. She grew up in Chicago and hadn't finished high school. Those close to her described her as peaceful, but she carried a heavy history of trauma from her younger years that she later said left her with deep-seated trust issues, especially toward men. By her early 20s, Jakyra had settled in Fitchburg, Wisconsin. To feel safe, she had legally purchased a weapon back in September 2022, though she hadn't yet obtained a permit to carry it concealed. Despite all that she had been through, Jakyra was trying to get her life together. She had started a new job at a flooring company in February 2023. By March of 2023, Kawsu Samba's life was hitting a beautiful peak. The 34-year-old had been married for just 2 months to his wife, Vina Jallo. Even better, they were expecting their very first child. Kausu was working hard at MSI Auto Sales in Middleton to provide for his growing family. He was known as a dedicated, respectful employee who always kept his wife updated, even if he was just 5 minutes late coming home. Life was looking bright for Kausu. Some may have even said the same for Jakyra. She had a new job and she was ready to take the next step in life and get herself a car. On March 19, 2023, Jakyra made her way to MSI Auto Sales and leased a car. After closing the deal and leaving the lot, Jakyra claimed there were issues with the car immediately. She decided to go back up to the dealership the very next day on March 20th, 2023. That's when everything changed. Kausu came into work that day like any other day. Jakyra showed up at the dealership that morning, frustrated and looking for a solution. She wanted her money back or a different car. For over 4 hours, the situation simmered. Jakyra was on the phone with the bank trying to sort out the loan, while Kausu was trying to handle the business side of things. According to reports, the conversation was going nowhere. By 1:30 p.m., the tension reached a breaking point. Surveillance footage showed Kausu repeatedly asking Jakyra to leave the premises. Witnesses and the criminal complaint say he began to usher her toward the door. Jakyra claimed he was being aggressive and pushing her. In that moment of high emotion, she said she just snapped. As Kausu tried to move her out, she ducked, stepped back, prepared her weapon, and discharged a single round into his chest just a few feet away. The scene was chaotic. Kausu ran outside before collapsing in the parking lot. Jakyra didn't stay. She got into her vehicle and drove away. However, she didn't stay hidden for long. She called the police and her mother shortly after leaving. Madison police eventually located Jakyra at an apartment on Schroeder Road. She surrendered to officers with her hands above her head. Meanwhile, medics rushed Kausu to the hospital, but the injury to his heart and lung was too severe. He lost his life that afternoon, leaving behind a pregnant wife and a community in total shock. Jakyra was formally charged with first-degree intentional homicide. The impact of losing Kausu was devastating to his family. His wife, Vina, stood in court, pregnant, speaking directly to the accused. She talked about losing her husband, about raising a child who would never meet their father. That's a pain you can't measure. His family described him as someone who wouldn't even hurt a fly, someone who brought people together, someone who lived with purpose and had a positive influence on others. During Jakyra's initial court appearances, a $1 million bond was set. April 2024, the trial begins. Prosecutors argued that Jakyra knew exactly what she was doing. They pointed to surveillance footage. They highlighted the distance between Kausu and Jakyra, the positioning, especially the fact that she raised the weapon and fired directly at his chest. However, the defense argued that Jakyra acted out of fear, a reflex triggered by her past trauma when she felt Kausu was getting too close and touching her. They argued it was a tragedy, not an intentional act. Jakyra even took the stand herself. But during cross-examination, one key moment stood out. She admitted that firing at someone from that distance could lead to a fatal outcome. That admission hit hard. The case was now in the hands of the jury. After 5 hours of deliberation, on April 18, 2024, the jury reached their decision: guilty. In the end, Jakyra Anderson was sentenced to life in prison. She won't be eligible for parole for at least 25 years. For Kausu's family, there was some sense of justice, but no sentence could bring him back. May Kawsu Samba continue to rest in peace. I send his family my well wishes. This is a heavy situation all around, because one thing is clear: a disagreement turned into something permanent, and now multiple lives are changed forever. On one hand, you have a family man and a provider whose life was taken over a car lease dispute. On the other, you have a young woman who claimed her past issues dictated a split-second reaction that ruined her life and ended another. Fam, this is where I want to hear from y'all, because situations like this raise a lot of questions. Was this truly fair, or frustration taken too far? At what point should someone just walk away? Could this have been avoided if cooler heads prevailed? And how do you handle conflict when emotions are running high? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Alright fam, that's it for this episode of Hood Tales. Thank you so much for watching. Consider liking and sharing. Be sure to subscribe for more stories like this. Take care of yourself and each other. This is your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 Times. I'll talk to y'all in the next one.